Fatshark recently released a dev blog that highlights upcoming changes to the new Versus beta. Let's check it out. I'll only be covering the major points for the sake of time, but I'll leave a link to the blog in the description if you want to read the entire thing yourself. Fatshark has said that they're adding 2 major features to Versus mode in order to best address feedback they've gotten in the previous alphas: Pactsworn hordes and a matchmaking overhaul. Pactsworn hordes are a new mechanic that allows the Pactsworn to summon small Skaven hordes to help cover their own attacks and distract the heroes. These hordes will be on a cooldown, which will rapidly decrease with successful attacks and carry over between deaths. It's not confirmed if this will be a team-wide resource or an individual one, but the specific wording that they use makes it appear as if each individual player will have their own unique horde to summon, and thereby their own unique cooldown. This in turn will allow the Pactsworn players to send in mini hordes during downtime to help hide from and distract the heroes while they attack, or bolster the natural hordes in an attempt to overwhelm the heroes. Fatshark also said they heard us loud and clear that matchmaking needed some work. It's incredibly frustrating and unfair to be placed against people outside of your own skill bracket, and while they haven't exactly shared how the new matchmaking system will work in an effort to prevent people from trying to abuse it, they say that the primary goal of the rework is to lead to more overall fun and balanced games for all players, while simultaneously reducing queue times and in-game latency. There are a handful of other notable changes, which also include an updated Pactsworn UI to display more useful information, such as adding the ability to see remaining wounds and the difference between regular and temp HP on enemy health bars, allowing us to see the cooldown of all of our Pactsworn abilities, and allowing us to more clearly see the names and respawn timers of our allies by having them appear above their heads in-game. Some balance tweaks have occurred on the Pactsworn side for the Troll, Ratling, and Globadier. The Troll now moves slower but is able to hold his puke and allow for easier aiming, the Ratling Gunner has had his wind-up speed increased, reload speed decreased, and overall effective range increased, and the Globadier has seen a damage reduction on his initial Globe Strike, but a dramatic increase in his damage ramp-up for heroes who stand within the gas. And lastly, Against the Grain has received some changes to its objectives to deter speedrunning. All in all, this is probably the most interesting patch we've had for Versus thus far, and I think it's important to touch on all of these major points. The matchmaking improvements sound fantastic. Of course, we'll have to actually play them to see how they function in-game, but the fact that Fatshark understands that matchmaking has been a serious issue in the past and is working to fix it is good. At the very least, we know the system will prioritize matching grouped players with other groups of a similar size, so even if the matchmaking isn't perfect and needs some more tweaks, it should be overall a better experience than before. The Pactsworn Horde feature is a really cool idea that not only helps to make the Pactsworn gameplay more dynamic, but also helps to take away some of the power from the heroes without directly nerfing them. We've seen a lot of hero nerfs within the past couple of months, and we've gotten to the point where further nerfs are risking diminishing returns on balance, which wouldn't really help the balance to get better and would only cause the heroes to feel more and more bad to play. Adding new mechanics and slightly buffing Skaven is a great way to help swing the balance in favor of the Pactsworn, without causing the heroes to feel bad to play. What I think is really interesting about this Horde feature, though, is how it can be a double-edged sword. Using it at the right time to distract the heroes and cover your ambushes will, theoretically, help you and your team, but sending in the Horde at the wrong time will not only not help your team, but be actively detrimental and work against them. Heroes who fight in melee gain temp HP, and sending in a Horde at the wrong time will basically grant the enemy team free healing that will allow them to push forward a bit easier. So as much as this new mechanic can help, it can also hurt you if you're not careful. I enjoy the idea of this because it's not just a mindless button that the Pactsworn can press. It's something you have to consciously think about and decide when to use, which adds a new aspect of gameplay that didn't exist before. In regards to the balance tweaks, as always, I will reserve judgment for when I get the chance to physically play with them, but I can't help but be a little disappointed with the changes to the Troll. Last alpha, it was discovered pretty quickly that you can perma-stunlock the troll with enough hard stagger, and you can melt it nearly instantly if you ran multiple boss killers or gave a boss killer like Shade a purple potion. That didn't mean the troll was useless though, as you could get really good value from the troll's knockback and damage through block by attacking through walls, granting you cover from ranged and ensuring the heroes could not strike you back by using the troll's extended melee reach. Personally, I saw this most often in the event on Grain in the first barn, where trolls could attack players through the floor and put some serious hurt on them, while the other Skaven players would prevent the heroes from reaching the top of the stairs to hurt the troll in the first place. The troll's fast attack speed meant it was almost impossible for the heroes to progress unless they had a movement ability or hard stagger at their disposal, so strength-wise, the troll was actually pretty solid assuming you got a good spawn. I just think that's such a boring way to play the game though. When I think of spawning in as a boss, regardless of who it is, I want to be this giant, formidable foe that causes people to run away and change their strategy. I want to rush into the fray and cause chaos by splitting the team and flinging people across the map, and give my team a chance to attack in the midst of the chaos that I cause. When I think of a boss monster, I think of the tank from Left 4 Dead who can charge into the fray and barrel through anyone and anything who gets into his path. That's the kind of boss that I want to be. Not the kind that holds crouch, stares at a wall, and spams left click without ever really moving. And it sucks, because that's objectively the best way to play the troll, because he'll get stun-locked and instant-killed otherwise. Personally, I would have preferred they went a different direction and nerfed the troll's attack speed, but significantly boosted his overall survivability and actually allow him to rush into combat. They could have done this by slightly increasing his overall health, slightly decreasing the amount of monster damage careers like Shade did, and adding a passive stagger resistance to ensure that he could still be stunned, but not stun-locked. Regardless though, before passing hard judgment, I am willing to give the changes a chance first. And with Against the Grain, extra precautions against speedrunning is nice, but we really need more line of sight blockers to help Pactsworn spawn a bit closer to the heroes, otherwise the special snipers will just delete them before they have a chance to do anything. Hopefully that's an unlisted change, but as always, we'll see when we actually get to test. What do you think about these changes though? Let me know down in the comments below.